If there's one work Zack Snyder continues to be proud of, it's this zombie apocalypse movie that no one expected to become a successful cult classic. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Please like, share and subscribe for more. This May, Netflix offers new shows to keep subscribers entertained throughout the month, and one of the titles added to its library is Zack Snyder's 2004 horror flick Dawn of the Dead. Those who haven't watched this classic, consider this your sign. Zack Snyder is quite the controversial filmmaker of modern cinema. We're familiar with his stylized approach to movies, and he's made a brand of that for himself, but one of the biggest criticisms in his works is his own inconsistency. It's safe to say that he is sort of the hit-and-miss type of director. He is widely known for his efforts on the DCU and the 300 franchise, but many sometimes forget he was also the one behind the zombie apocalypse title, Dawn of the Dead. This was his directorial debut and, surprisingly, the best work of his career. The filmmaker has a knack for dark themes in his storytelling, which he applies in his works even if they aren't suited. Take Man of Steel, for instance. He could have been contemplating what would happen if a classic superhero like Superman started exploring his own darkness. Perhaps Snyder should have stuck making horror flicks, as he seemed to be very comfortable in this genre, and it complements his own style, too. Such reverence to the original movie would bring so much pressure on Snyder to make a worthy remake. Fortunately, he was able to pull this off and create a masterpiece of his own while honoring his inspiration. Snyder was aware he made a project that he would be proud of for the rest of his life. He did not expect it would blow up and become a cult classic, but here it is. In a conversation with Den of Geek, he expressed utter satisfaction with what he created. There's nothing I would change because it's very much the movie I made at the time and it completely satisfied what I was trying to do. The thing I'm proudest of is that, even though it was a genre film made for a studio and low budget, I still feel like I made an unexpected movie. The director admitted that this project taught him a lesson that he still applies to his works today. Tone is everything. Once he's able to set this, the rest will follow through. In 2021, Snyder returned to his roots and released Army of the Dead, although this was not received well by fans. To this day, Dawn of the Dead remains his highest-rated title on Rotten Tomatoes with a current 77% approval rating from both critics and audience. James Gunn and Zack Snyder in one frame? My brain is already directing the ultimate DCU crossover, and if this isn't a tease, I'm suing for damage. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe and don't forget to turn on notifications bell for more video. Please like, share and subscribe for more. That's right. When I saw James Gunn post an adorable photo with the one and only Zack Snyder, my mind was working overtime to come up with a logical conclusion as to what was going on. And while their cute little photo could be nothing more than, well, a photo, I sure hope it has something to do with a certain project in James Gunn's roster. James Gunn woke up today and decided, let's break the internet. The filmmaker has been in the business for a few years now, and after giving his fans one of the best superhero franchises of all time, Guardians of the Galaxy, he is now all set to take our breaths away with the upcoming Superman starring David Corenswet. However, today, he was probably in the mood to steer the conversations away from Superman and toward an unlikely duo, him and Zack Snyder. Of course, Snyder's excellence is not unknown to the world, but the praise coming from Gunn just hits differently. Two separate universes have collided in real life after James Gunn posted a photo with the former DC director Zack Snyder. Not only were the two geniuses all smiles for the camera, but Gunn also had some pleasant words for the fellow filmmaker. Stating how it's always a pleasure to meet Snyder, he called him a consummate filmmaker and a doubly consummate storyteller. Think about it, the Authority isn't your average, goody-two-shoes superhero team. They are brutal, morally gray, and they get things done. As Gunn once said, it doesn't matter if they have to kill people or change governments, they're gonna do what it takes to make a change in the world, via Collider. And if you take a moment to think about it, there isn't a better duo than Snyder and Gunn to bring this team to life. Snyder's signature aesthetic, dark, gritty, and unapologetically intense, combined with Gunn's writing style that adds raw emotional weight to a story is everything the Authority could need. Anyway, coming to what this meetup could mean for DCU's future, I wholeheartedly hope that Gunn and Snyder combine their forces for the upcoming The Authority, which is a part of the superhero universe's Gods and Monsters chapter. While some of you may not even know that the two filmmakers have previously collaborated on a project, surprise, surprise, it's true. Back in 2004, Snyder made his feature directorial debut with the action horror Dawn of the Dead. While Snyder was once criticized for his dark and gritty take on superheroes in films like Man of Steel and Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, it is exactly what the authority demands. Now, is this wishful thinking? Yeah, probably. But you cannot tell me that the two powerhouses won't kill it as the director-writer duo for the film. I wouldn't hear it. Coming to the collaboration, it was actually Gunn who came up with the screenplay of the film, making it the first and last time the two collaborated on something. While remakes often fail to impress the critics, Dawn of the Dead actually did pretty well for itself, earning a 77% score on Rotten Tomatoes with the critical consensus calling it a kinetic, violent, and surprisingly worthy remake of George Romero's horror classic that pays homage to the original while working on its own terms. It has been 21 years since Dawn of the Dead was released, and I honestly believe that it is time Gunn and Snyder just join hands and give fans what they're looking for, the ultimate collaboration. The film was a remake of George A. Romero's namesake original, which was released all the way back in 1978. It stars Sarah Polley, Jake Weber, and more, and is a story about a group of survivors trying to make it through a zombie apocalypse while trapped in a shopping mall. Can't go wrong with classic zombie survival stories. Despite James' original choice for breaking records dropped out in favor of Zack Snyder's spiritual successor to his breakout movie. In one aspect. Welcome to Stats In. If you're just joining us, please subscribe, and don't forget to turn on notifications for more video. Please like, share, and subscribe for more. It's hard to imagine when anyone other than Cena. I immediately noticed that Gunn was using the same thing that he had been using in almost all of his movies. Not only is he hilarious, pop songs, but throughout season 1 and season 2 to more modern ones, the WWE superstar has showcased a lot of versatility and is now in contention for the best wrestler Guardians of the Galaxy alongside Bautista. The James Gunn has a knack for transforming Z-list characters into beloved fan favorites to appreciate, and John Cena's Peacemaker is arguably its Gunn had to offer with his take on the iconic appearance on the Howard Stern Show. From the cinematography to who understands the character Dave Bautista in The Suicide Squad, with whom he developed a great wannabe film during the Guardians movies. And the third time because I had nothing better to do. Commitments to Zack Snyder's comparing Zack Snyder and James Gunn's successor to Dawn of the Dead. We do have a winner between the two. The deal to James Gunn, by the way. It was Dave Bautista. But there is a good friend of mine where Zack Snyder's Man of Steel plays Drax in Guardians of the Galaxy, and I wrote the character of Peacemaker for him, and we offered him the role. James Gunn, but he was offered which the director is particularly known for in his movies. Although Snyder's Army of the Dead with a reworked version of John Williams' arguably a step up Superman main theme, missteps, which felt like a familiar touch. Gunn made Peacemaker a household name as the movie progressed. Several licensed songs started playing in the background. No offense to James Gunn's Spotify playlist. But it just felt better when legendary composer Hans Zimmer sat on his piano and tuned out some of the finest tracks and score that redefined Henry Cavill's Man of Steel. I've worked with him more than any other actor. Hans Zimmer's I've done 2 seasons of Peacemaker and Suicide Squad. What are you going to do when you are not saving more together? So some of the notable pieces of music that set up